Yeehaw, Jeff.
Hey, aloha, everybody. This is Jeff Reinbold. This is our Monday edition of the Jeff Reinbold Show. I'm here with my partner, Michael McQuaid, over in Ireland. We're here for 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the NFL in both the UK and Ireland. Michael, a big weekend of football is just about over. We got Monday night tonight. We got the Raiders and the Packers, but we had some awful, interesting action. I'm going to say that awful. There was some awful football and there was some really interesting football, but it was a great weekend of football.
Man, it's great to see you again. And you know what? It's funny because I was like, where's he going with this awful thing? Yeah, I get it now. It's Lunes. It's Monday.
Don't even bring that guy out here.
It's Lunes. It's Monday. Monday Night Football, yeah. So people listening to the podcast on Tuesday, welcome in again. We like Jeff. First off, our picks are going downhill, man. Like we both picked the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, not to go back 5 days in the past to something irrelevant. You know, someday I'm going to be sitting on my deathbed, getting the last rites or whatever, and I'm going to tell myself, there's 3 hours of my life I'm never getting back. I woke up on Friday morning with the biggest amount of regret. We have some breaking news. Are you up for the breaking news, Jeff?
Give me some breaking news.
Here's the TikTok reel, folks. The LA 2028 Olympics is recommending 5 sports to the IOC panel on October the 16th, and one of them is flag football. Now, I don't know my Olympic rules off by heart, but I am nearly certain that if that's passed, then it goes to the next stage. So, looking like, Jeff, flag football, it might make the Olympics. Maybe you could have one big hurrah in California coaching some flag football team. Your girl Phoebe, obviously, maybe she might go to 28 as well. Who knows? But if it happens, it'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? To see that, like for you, like for your career, to see where football has went from where you've started to now. It would really be the icing on the cake to see a whole new generation of kids and young people play football, wouldn't it?
You know, I think it's interesting because this has been a goal of IFAF, the International Federation of American Football, for years. And one of the reasons that they started national teams was an eye on that one day they would like football to be in the Olympic Games. Well, flag football has really caught fire, and it is a huge, huge deal. And obviously you saw that by the European Championships that were held in Ireland, and you see the World Championships. I think this is a tremendous development for football itself. I think it's great for flag football, and it's great for, you know, in the final analysis, it's always good for the NFL because, you know, this just creates more awareness of the game around the globe and more players playing, and men, women, and, you know, I think it's just fantastic news. And another, you know, I guess maybe another rung past or another step that we've taken in growing the sport around the world, and I'm really pleased about it. It is big news.
Look, I was one of the first people to not be converted. I just didn't know enough about it, and I seen it last year at a Packers training day in London. I then seen it in Limerick. I love it. That actually might get me into playing the Jeff, which could be.
Well, you know, Mike, it is a fantastic game, and it's wide open. It's really a lot of fun, and everybody that plays it, you know, you can play it past the days when your body breaks down from, you know, playing contact football. And I think that there are some kids, and let's face it, there are some kids, and men and women, that don't enjoy the physical part of it, the hitting part of football, but still love the throwing and the catching, the, you know, all that football is. So I think it's going to continue to grow because I think you're going to see more young kids get into the game through flag football. And whether they ever become tackle football participants or not is really unimportant. The real thing is that they become lovers of the game.
Oh my God, I've been in mute for the last 20 seconds, and I'm not going to edit that out. I was saying, Jeff, thank you for going into detail on that. I seen it just before we went live there, so that's pretty cool news. And for people watching live, get your questions in. We will get to them ASAP. Jeff, look, we have to talk about London very quickly. I'm going to give a shout out to my man Trev, Irish Bills Mafia, with a mug. I met him yesterday. Jeff, first time for him flying out of Ireland ever. And he was going. It was a Christmas day, so I got to give him a shout out. Jeff, I loved that. Like, that was some weekend, man. Like, that probably the best atmosphere London's ever had, and just a great day. I'm gonna start tearing up now, so I'll just stop talking. But
Well,
it was a good weekend.
It was a great day. It was over 61,000 fans, the biggest crowd in Tottenham Hotspur's for a football game, certainly, and that's a positive sign. And then all of the just how the whole place was on fire. The people were in the streets, they were in the pubs. It was just, whether there was Americans that had come over, Londoners that were into the game, people from around Europe that had flown into London for the game. Bills Mafia was full force, and it was a tremendous spectacle, and it doesn't seem like it ever ends. It just gets better and better all the time, and the Bills fans, I think, really set the tone for the weekend. And the event down at Battersea Park was fantastic, and you had the commissioner, and I mean, you doesn't get any bigger than that when you got the commissioner in town. So it's certainly a win-win again for the National Football League.
I had serious FOMO. So thanks to everyone getting the questions, and we will get to them in the second part. Jeff, look, very quickly on that, Jags were great. Trevor Lawrence, for me, I've seen him play 4 or 5 times now. Statistically, people might not think this when they watch all of his tape and all of his games, because the Jags have had some superb offensive performance. Jeff, he looks so good. His decision-making, his quickness, getting out of the pocket, making these pinpoint throws that look impossible. I was so impressed yesterday. They feel like a team, Jeff. They could light up at the right time. And when we seen Shad Khan yesterday, immediately after the game, he looked like a man that was sitting in Vegas, quids in, happy days. They're going places, man. Like, they look so good yesterday, honestly.
I think they're on the rise, and obviously you can really see the difference in Trevor with Doug Peterson. It's almost incredible, the difference between what that kid was under Urban Meyer and what he's developing into being under Doug Peterson. And the thing that was impressive to me about that win was they ran the football. I mean, they pounded on the Bills. And, we had just seen the Bills come off of playing an extremely good performance defensively against Miami and owning the line of scrimmage and all of that. And then, here come the Jags, and they just ran the ball extremely well in the game. Mike, I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of concern in Buffalo right now, because they may have lost Mike Milano for the year. He's
out. It's literally just been confirmed in the last 20. He's out.
He's probably their best defensive player. And, you lose a guy like that who does so much for you. Tre'Davious White's hurt. I mean, they're starting to get chewed up on defense. And obviously, that's not a good sign for them. And especially at linebacker, because now you're talking about real inexperienced linebacker play in a defense where linebacker play is absolutely critical. So there's a lot of concern in Buffalo right now.
If you want to hear more analysis from Jeff, you can see him on tour, linktr.ee/Reinbold or /NFL Ireland. All of Jeff's Irish days, apart from Belfast and Limerick, have 20% off tonight. Just for the crack, code Ireland. Cork, there's 11% of tickets left for Cork. That's pretty cool.
Well, I tell you what, if you get this, we got this little temporary sale going on. If you don't have a ticket now, you better get one, because they're going to go out. They're going to get
Cork is going to sell out. Like Cork is going to go. Like it's already there's literally 7 tickets left for Cork, which is awesome. And props, Jeff, to the Admirals. And just very quickly on the tour, I spoke to Liam Ryan from Limerick yesterday. Just different people. Everyone's very excited. So look, folks, I know it's not easy out there at the minute. There's a cost of living crisis. Everything. We very much, Jeff, appreciates it. Let's go back into the football. Let's jump back in now, Jeff. A couple of things. I think we need to talk about the Steelers-Ravens game. But first off, talking about big performances, well done to you the overnight, 38-13. That's a hell of a win, man. That's a hell of a win. And keep going in that sense. Steelers-Ravens. Steelers win 17-10. But the biggest story for me is they're now top of the North. 2 weeks ago, people had them dead and buried. And this has been the most up and down season, Jeff, and we're going into week 6. It's so topsy-turvy because this Steelers offense is not. It's not great. Kenny Pickett, 18 to 32 yesterday. That great touchdown pass. I think it was George Pickens on the day, and it's really they're really struggling with the run game, but the defense gets them over the line. Ravens are, and this is something to talk about as well, Jeff. I'm sure you remember Coach Harbaugh's comments the last time that they were in London. They're coming over tonight.
Yeah, they're gonna spend the whole week. I think they've learned that's the best way to do it. You talk about this game, and obviously we knew it was going to be a defensive struggle. It's two great defenses and two offenses that are still trying to find their way. You watch it, and if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you be happy about the win, but you still have to be concerned about their inability to run the football. George Pickens and Kenny Pickett, that's a great combination. But outside of that, there wasn't really much for offense yesterday for Pittsburgh. I just don't know if you can count on 136 yards and a touchdown every week from Pickens. And, that's not good. On the other side, you look at Baltimore. Lamar was 22 of 38. He had an interception. He was sacked 4 times. They got to get that. And again, I understand it's the Steelers and a great pass rush and all that, but they got to get that straightened out. They did not run the ball at all, and that's their signature. They were, Gus Edwards was 12 for 48, and that's your leading rusher. That's not a good day at the office for a team that prides itself on its toughness and ability to run the ball. And then Baltimore had 3 turnovers, and you're not going to win football games against good defensive teams when you turn the ball over 3 times, because those are possessions that you lose and bonus possessions for your opponent. So this game is, I think, a concern still, even though they got the W and it's a divisional game, and they got to be happy about that. But they still don't have all the answers yet in Pittsburgh, and that offense is still going to struggle every time they play against really good defenses.
It's a big bye week for them, you feel, because it's sort of like that good time to regroup. They've got a few big games coming up, including that Browns game next month. There's a big watch party in Dublin. We're going to try and get Jeff over for that. Probably not going to happen. Like, seriously, if you're over the week before, you should come to that. But if you'll probably be working if you're over.
I would love to do it because obviously, when you guys have a watch party, it's a tremendous thing. And I'm anxious to get on the ground in Ireland and see, just how many Steeler fans there are. I know that your podcast is going great, and it seems like they're starting to develop an identity, and it'll be fun. I hope they bring their terrible towels when they come to the show.
Well, I'm nearly certain, I can't speak for Sky Sports, but I would presume they might send somebody out. So let me see if I can bribe Neil at the weekend to send you out. We'll see what happens. That'll be good fun. Shout out to all them. It was great meeting them yesterday. Just need Jeff over now, folks. I know a lot of people are tweeting him as well, trying to get him over. Let's look at a few different games. We will talk about Sunday Night Football with people in the comments live looking to talk about it. But let's very quickly talk about a game that didn't feature a world-class superstar in Taylor Swift. Thank God, Jeff. We've moved on now, and we're all the better for it. Thank God. Wish them all the best, regardless. Chiefs Vikings was an interesting game because going into yesterday, Kirk Cousins was 19-0 in the month of October. So that was my stat for the week on every podcast. I was like, yeah, he's not going to win. Yada yada yada. I tell you what, man. Like the general consensus from everyone that isn't a Chiefs fan is that the refs screwed the Vikings yesterday, and then the general consensus from the Chiefs fans is, well, it's just talent. Sometimes you need things to go your way. But you're talking about the Steelers not having a run game outside of Pacheco. They were quite sort of quiet in the day. Travis Kelce went off injured, got a touchdown. He is listed as did not practice today. They played Denver Thursday night. That's definitely one to watch, Jeff. But just your thoughts on that game overall, because the Chiefs keep going forward. And now the biggest story really is the Vikings going to 1-4 in the season, a team that a lot of us thought would go down a little bit in the NFC North. But Jeff, I certainly didn't have them going 1-4 5 weeks in.
Well, I think there's a couple things that work. Number one, you talk about the Chiefs. Let's talk about the Chiefs first. When Kelce got his foot caught in the turf and went down, you could hear a gasp around the world by Chiefs fans because everybody understands how big a part of that offense he is. He got taped at halftime. the X-rays were negative, and he came back out and played in the second half. I got to believe he's going to be at least limited this week, because that kind of a foot injury and ankle injury is really, it'll stiffen up and swell up. And so that's going to be a concern for this week. I don't think they need Travis Kelce to beat Denver, but, they're going to have to sign. Sometimes you have to do this. Sometimes you have to protect a player from himself. I would recommend that they keep him on the shelf if they can do it. They're going to have to win. And I think this is where we tend to overanalyze sometimes. No team hits, 1,000. Nobody bats 1,000. Nobody completes every pass. Nobody, so they did not play particularly well offensively in that game. They struggled some, but they won the football game, and they won a football game on the road against a team that had weapons. So, if you're Kansas City, you take the points, you take the W, and you move on. And now if they can, ensure that Kelce's healthy long-term, I think that's really a big key. They're still missing a little bit to me, Mike. I think they're not, you mentioned Pacheco. They don't run the ball as well as they did in the past. And they're still looking to find that receiver who's going to step up and be the bell cow for that passing game. So I think still one of the best teams, and certainly in the AFC, but not an unbeatable looking team right now. I think if I was doing power rankings, I'd have them up there in the top 2 or 3, but I don't know if I'd say they're the best team in the AFC right now. But Minnesota, that's football. I mean, you gotta be able to deliver. And now, Jefferson tweaked his hamstring when he got his foot caught in the turf, and that's not good if he's not 100%. And they're just struggling to get W's, and they need to try and find a way to keep pace with Green Bay and Detroit in that division, or it's going to be a long, cold winter in Minnesota. Excuse me.
You're all good, my man. You're all good. You're talking about the best teams. Who would be number 1 in your power rankings right now?
I still say, based upon what's happened with Milano being hurt, Tre'Davious White being hurt, I still say you got to say Miami. I just really think that, you look at what they're doing offensively.
And that's AFC and NFC, Jeff.
No, I'm saying AFC. I'm not saying AFC, NFC. I'm saying AFC. And then again, after what the 49ers did to the Cowboys yesterday, I think you got to look at the 49ers as the best team in football, maybe.
Shout out to everyone watching live. I really appreciate it, folks, in the comments. Get the comments in. We've got questions coming in about 15 minutes. We will talk about the Niners in a few moments' time. I feel like we've got to talk about the Jets and the Broncos, only because of the fact that, did you see Robert Saleh at the end of the game? So for people not sure, this runs up to Sean Payton and he says, "Stay humble," and runs off. Now, look, as a Broncos fan who's wearing a Mile High Mafia, don't tell the Steelers shirt right now, I'm joking. Jeff, they had this white helmet, and this was like the thing all weekend. It was like, we're wearing a white helmet. The field's white. I mean, what have we done to deserve this? Like, this team is trash. Hot trash, Jeff. And when you got Breece Hall, who is 177 yards on the day, for people that haven't seen it, Russell Wilson fumbles, Jets win the game. I just feel, Jeff, that somebody's praying bad luck on me or something, mate. 1-4 in the season. Man, the Jets, for all the negativity around Zach Wilson, 2-3. But Sean Payton had a little bit of humble pie last night, man.
Yeah, and he's not very happy about it. He's had a humble pie all year. They're for a team that's got as many name players as they do on defense, they're not playing any kind of defense at all. The offense is stagnant. Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson, right? He's on the downslide of his career, and I think that it's tough for them to generate any kind of consistent offense. They're having trouble protecting the quarterback. I mean, it's not a very good scene right now in Denver. They got a lot of work to do to become a good football team. Tough division to do that in too. So, I think that that certainly the Jets, you could tell were this was an emotional game for them, and it's good to see the Jets finally give the ball to Breece like they should have the last 3 weeks. Take the pressure off of Wilson. Don't ask him to win from the pocket as much as they've been asking him to win from the pocket. I think they can be a competitive football team if they do those things. If they don't do those things and they go back to trying to throw it all over the yard and all of that again, then they're going to struggle. But you are what your record says you are. And that's a great quote from Bill Parcells. And right now, Denver's not a very good football team. And, the Jets are, a team that's trying to get better, and still has some talent on their football team. But the Broncos just look out of sorts. And it's really a shame.
They're a disgrace. I have no more to say on it. I'm at the point now where I don't care about the rest of the season, and that's sad. I think we should just suck for luck, or how do we get a Caleb Williams innuendo there?
I think the fact of the matter is they're not. They made some mistakes. They made some. They gave Russell that big contract, traded all those draft picks away, and he's not performed. And they've tried everything to get him, fixed, and they haven't been able to fix him. And they just don't look like a good football teams, Mike. Don't take penalties. Good football teams stop the run and run the ball. Good football teams convert on third down. Those are all things. They don't turn the ball over. And those are all things that the Broncos just don't do with any consistency. Until they do those things consistently well, they're going to struggle.
Right. Let's talk about the Niners. The Irish faithful, 49ers Ireland, are having a massive watch party this Sunday in Buskers. I will forget about that, so I'm going to try and say it now. If people are listening to this, Buskers on the Ball Temple Bar this weekend. Maybe Jesse Spola might fly over, Jeff.
I know Jesse would love to be there because he loves his faithful fans. And, look at what they did in that game to the Cowboys.
Jeff, not even what they did. They were they're incredible. Like Brock Purdy is do you not feel like, as somebody that coaches in football, that Brock Purdy is being incredibly not looked or not taken seriously? Because look, I've had moments in the last 2 or 3 years where I felt,
Mike, let me ask you
my own career,
who's not taking him serious?
The NFL, analysts, everything. I feel that somebody came out last night on NBC and said Mac Jones in San Francisco will be balling out. I think Purdy is so much more than an insert quarterback here. He was so good last night, man. He was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the fact that, first of all, I don't care what the analysts say, because most of them are just trying to get clicks or likes or, but the guy throws 4 touchdown passes in the game last night, right? They rushed for 170 yards against the Cowboys. 170 yards against the Cowboys. Now, when you score 42 points against one of the best defenses in football, that's pretty impressive. So is he, quote, a system quarterback and all of that stuff? I mean, that's just all for talk show hosts and, all that to chew up. The fact of the matter is the guy makes plays, right? Is the system around him outstanding? Yes. Is he built for that system? Yes. Could he thrive in the Dolphin system? Probably. I don't know if he'd be as effective as Tua is, because he's not that refined a thrower yet. But you ask the guy to do certain things in that offense, play action, be on the perimeter on the nakeds, and every once in a while drop back and throw one. I mean, he doesn't do much straight drop back. He just doesn't, right? But what he does do is what they ask him to do. And that's all you can ask of any quarterback. That's why it frustrates me when I hear people talk about the guy just is good because of the system. It's no way. I mean, the system enhances his abilities, yes, but this kid's a great football player. And, again, we talked about, and I'm not using their name in the same sentence because I'm comparing the two of them. But, Brady getting drafted low, right? We always thought about how amazing that was and all the Super Bowls he's won. This kid as the last player picked in the draft, has done some incredible things. You got to think about that, Mike. If you're the last player picked in the draft, that means 31 other teams passed on you 7 times.
Minimum 7 times.
Yeah. So that's pretty impressive for a guy that was, there was so much talk about he's too small, he doesn't have the arm strength, he doesn't have all that stuff. But it just goes back to show you that success in the NFL is a team game. It's not an individual game. It's a team game. And accuracy and decision-making, which he does extremely well, are still more important than arm strength or feet or all those other things, right? Because he doesn't have outstanding athleticism. He doesn't have outstanding feet or speed or any of that stuff, elusiveness. He doesn't have an outstanding arm when you put him up there against the big arms in the game. But he delivers because he plays within the offense and he knows what he has to do and he goes out and performs. And you can't take that away from him, no matter what position he was drafted in.
Jeff, is there any winners or losers or anything we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention from this last weekend?
Well, the thing, like, you watch the Lions again. The Lions had another big win, and I thought Hutchinson was outstanding again. That guy is really, really playing well for them. That is a huge win, and I think that they're starting to take a little bit of a stranglehold on that NFC North. The fact that they could go and win is they lose one of their top defensive backs, right? And which is really sad because a guy coming back off an ACL and gets another one as soon as he comes back. But that's the game sometimes. But they seem to overcome things. They're resilient. They're tough. That's what I like about the Lions. They're a tough football team. And then you look at the Cowboys, and when I say tough, I'm not talking about physically tough. I'm talking about mentally tough football team. Mentally tough football teams don't have these peaks and valleys like the Cowboys seem to have. Mentally tough football teams perform at a high level all the time. And that's, again, where you look at the Bills and what have the Bills been? They were very average the first weekend. Then they got real hot. And then they were really bad last weekend. You want to win a championship. It's hard to win championships that way. And, so consistently high-class performance, high-level performance, San Francisco, Detroit, Miami, those teams, those are the teams that I think in the end will, be standing when everybody else is, watching them play in the playoffs.
They'll be standing whenever you're standing on TV, please God. Jeff, just for this podcast, linktr.ee/Reinbold. All the Irish states apart from Belfast, Limerick, use code Ireland, 20% off.
That's just our offer to you. This is a short-term offer, right? And we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get to those shows because we're going to have a great time. I mean, a great time. And we are hitting now. We'll crisscross the island while we're there. I think we're going to be just about everywhere you can go. And we're not missing a corner, are we?
I feel like, I've persuaded Jeff to do Dundalk, folks. Now you're Dundalkin, so why not? Why not? I think Dublin sold out, so Dundalk is in between Dublin and Belfast. But why not have a bit of crack? And just people watching live on YouTube, please do like, share, subscribe. If you can like the video, it means it makes a massive difference for us. So thank you very much. Loads of questions. We're going to get into this next podcast. Jeff, say aloha. Thanks to 888.
Hey, thank you very much, and we will see you very soon. Aloha.
Right, Jeff. 29 minutes in. It's time for
Monday Night Football.
You gotta get that guy in. You are beautiful. This is the day. Hey. This is not the Monday Night Football show. This is the Take the Questions mailbag show. And in our mailbag edition, this is my favorite part of this show. So let's get to taking some questions.
Let's get to take some questions. Now, I'm going to have to actually start again because this guy here, when I play it,
Monday Night Football! Monday Night!
The audio doesn't go in the final podcast. So start again right now.
Hey, aloha, this is Jeff Reinbold, and we're back with the Jeff Reinbold Show. And the part of the show, or the show that I enjoy more than any other, is this show where we take questions from you, our tribe, and you viewers and listeners and everybody that subscribes to our YouTube channel and hits us on Twitter or X or Instagram or wherever you get your Jeff Reinbold Show from. We appreciate you. We want to, give you the opportunity to ask the questions.
Jeff, es lunes, es Monday.
Don't
No, I'm joking.
Don't go back there with that guy one more time.
Man, you gotta love John Sutcliffe. Anyway, back to the crack. It's just Monday night. I'm like wrecked if a 2-hour sleep, but I'm telling myself I could do it. I could do the Packers against the Raiders. That's not going to happen. But as Jeff says, this is the mailbag section. And is it Twitter? Is it X? I don't know. I don't know.
Week, I tell you what, one thing I do know, and I've been watching tape all day today, and Max Crosby is a bad man. I mean,
bad dog.
He is a amazing football player.
Is he him, Jeff?
He's got like nobody around him, and they're getting beat handily, right? And he's out there playing his guts out. And I mean, making plays. They're chipping him. They're double teaming him. There's nobody on the other side to take any of the pressure off of him. And the guy just continually makes plays. So I have been so impressed with Max Crosby. And I'm going to do a little video breakdown of some of the things that make him so special.
Interesting. I certainly look forward to that, Jeff. We've got a few questions. First one is from Peter Dowling, who is from Romsey Hants in Hampshire in England. I don't know what it is, Peter, but thank you for getting in, chatting to us. Loads of get your YouTube comments and live, folks, as well. Peter says, can Dak perform in big games? Well, Peter, I'll give you my answer first. No, he can't. There you go, Jeff.
Well, that's nice. I mean, you talk about this has been one of the criticisms of the kid since he came into the league. They're always concerned about how's he perform in big games. Last night was a big game. Last night's a game. Even Jerry Jones said it. He said we're going to find out a lot about our where we stack up when we play the 49ers. Well, he didn't stack up very well. You got beat 42-10. Purdy threw 4 touchdown passes. You gave up 170 yards on the ground, 170. And then on the other side of it, Dak completes 14 passes for 153 yards and 3 interceptions. Can't win that way. Just can't win that way. Not against good teams, you can't win that way. And you're certainly not going to win a championship that way. So you look at the Cowboys, and this has always been the thing that is so frustrating about the Cowboys, particularly if you're a Cowboy fan, is you see that they have tremendous football players. And that defense, when it's going, is fantastic. But they have lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who's a struggling football team. And then they go up against the 49ers in a showcase game, in a game that if you're going to be a contender, you got to show up for. And they get waxed 42-10. So, if you're a Cowboy fan, you got to have major concerns.
I agree completely. And talking about Cowboy fans, Freddie saying mahalo, how's the form? He says, just to stick on the Cowboys for Fred here, obviously Fred's from Dublin. Lads, my thoughts on McCarthy. I think he's been very fortunate with Jerry Jones. Patience. We look like the worst coach team in the league. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I think it's really difficult. The Cowboy job may be the most difficult job in football because there's so many things that go into it beyond coaching your football team. You got to manage an owner who's involved in everything, who has his own radio show that talks about injuries on the radio show. I mean, those things are distractions and they make your job hard. You have talented players and you are underneath the spot. The expectation is always we're going to be a Super Bowl team, which is interesting and ironic because they haven't been to a Super Bowl in, 25 years or whatever it is. So when you think of all those things, McCarthy's just fighting to keep his head above water. And now he's taken on the play calling duties. And that makes it even more difficult, right? So he's got to manage the sideline, manage the clock, manage all the things that a head coach has to do and be the offensive coordinator. And that's a big, big task.
Massive task. And it's like I was surprised you said there this year. I thought Jerry would start getting under Jerry and just making rash decisions, and props at the start of the season I thought, props to Jerry for keeping him there, but it's not working at the minute. It's not and it's
I think Mike, I don't think there's a rush to judgment all the time, right? Like we're 5 games into the season, right? But they got to figure some things out. Why are they so wildly inconsistent? Why can they play so well one weekend, then the next weekend go to play the Cardinals and just get hammered, and then go into a big game where you need to show up and just get hammered again? So they've got some soul searching to do in that locker room and on that coaching staff and everybody in that organization, because that's too good a football team to play like they played against the 49ers.
Rory saying, I just looked up next week's games. Chargers Cowboys looks to be a great game. Is that the best game of next week, or could Bill Belichick get beat by Jimmy Garoppolo? Oh, your Raiders, Jeff. Oh,
well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm doing this film work on the Raiders, and they're just not a very good football team right now. And I think it's been a tremendously difficult offseason for them. The Chandler Jones things recently, Devontae Adams being hurt, and all of it's been tough. And that organization is, still hasn't found its way. And it's a beautiful facility. They got, they've got everything that you could want, and they just don't seem to be able to put a football team together. I think the Raiders are going to be, basically what we thought they were going to be, about a 6-win team.
Your dear friend Gurr, good evening, lads, was wondering if you were to redo the 2022 draft with the tape we have now, how high would Brock Purdy be drafted? Top 3 pick for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have forecasted all of those things. But here again, Mike, if you go back and you look at what he did at Iowa State, and people have to understand this, are you a quarterback that elevates the players around you? Well, Iowa State is not a destination place, right? You're not even the best team in Iowa. So when you're able to do what that kid did as a college player and beat some of the teams, they're fighting tooth and nail against the Oklahomas of the world, right? And you're at Iowa State. Well, that's a guy that can elevate the talent around him. And I think he's continued to do that. The thing he was as a college player is the same thing he is as a pro player. He's incredibly competitive. He understands the game. He plays within himself. He doesn't try and do too many things. He is a better than average athlete. He has a better than average arm, not a great arm, right? Not a great athlete, but he's a winner. And when you put the tape on and you see some of these other guys, how much of it was based upon he's bigger, he's a 6'4" guy, he's got a big arm, like all that stuff where in the postseason evaluations and in the quarterback workouts and all of that stuff, and I see guys throwing a ball and hitting the top of the building or whatever we saw last year, and it becomes an internet sensation. I just smile and laugh and think, does anybody really pay attention here? Like, does the kid make the throws he has to make? Is he accurate? Can he make decisions? Well, he could do all of that in college. It's just he didn't look the part. He wasn't big enough. He didn't have a big enough arm. He wasn't a good enough athlete. Well, here we are 3 years down the road or 2 years down the road or whatever it is. And how many guys that were drafted ahead of him would you trade for? Would you give him up for? Not many, if any.
Not many. Jeff, you never told me about it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is. Happy Thanksgiving from Canada.
Is it the exact same as America, or what's the crack?
It's pretty much the same. It's the families together, turkey, giving thanks. It's not the original story of Plymouth, Plymouth colony and all of that, but it's pretty close to the same.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that, Jeffrey. We got Owen, who's from Dublin, saying, "Hi lads, hashtag Niner Nation. What a performance in capital letters. For sure, the Irish faithful will be in buskers for the Browns game. All welcome." We've got the Talking Balls guys. I know you're on with Neil and the lads for Talking Balls. They're saying new RB1 in Denver, or as Neil would say, new RB1 in Denver.
I think
a bit more northern than me.
I think there are going to be a lot of changes in Denver real soon, because they're not going to stand. Sean Payton's not going to stand pat with a football team that underperforms like his football team's underperforming right now. So I think there'll be, you may see other changes, even to the point of the quarterback at some point if it doesn't get straightened out. They're going to have to make changes on defense. They can't tackle on defense. They give up too many big plays. And, you can't make wholesale changes. You can't change the whole team, but they're not going to put up with the kind of performances that you're getting right now in Denver.
We have got a question here from Dan, who is in Edinburgh. Dan, Jeff on X wants to know who your surprise package is through 5 weeks of the season.
Wow. I think, that there are certain teams that, like, I don't think anybody thought the Texans were going to be as competitive as they are right now. I think that the Jets are surprised the other way. Who would have foreseen, Aaron Rodgers going down 4 plays into the season? I think the Packers are a little bit of a pleasant surprise. You go around the league, the 49ers, everybody knew were going to be a good football team. The Rams are a little bit of a pleasant surprise. They're very competitive and haven't even had their best offensive player on the field yet. So those are the teams that kind of jump out at me as being surprises.
We've got one last one. We've got a last one from Rory, who's got another one. And Rory getting 2 questions tonight. This might be an easy answer, Jeff, but I'll shout it out. Last question from me. After last night's game, Prescott or Purdy, if you had to pick one of them for the next 5 years, who would it be? I mean, I would say Brock, Purdy, Jeffrey.
I think that's fair. I think you base it on, this is a business that's not based upon, I shouldn't say that, because too often it's based upon the look test, the eye test. Does the guy pass the eye test? Does he have the big arm? Does he have all of that? And it's not based on results. If you base it on results, it's not close. It's not even close. So I agree with you. I'd take Brock Purdy.
I have a question at the very, very end, Jeff, and I'll just go through it. As somebody that gets less sleep than you these days, how do you do it?
It's part of the business that I'm in. You grow up in this business and you realize that you don't sleep. Like, we got home from the game the other night. We fly charter, so you leave right out of the stadium the night after the game, and that's from Regina here is a 3.5-hour flight, and by the time you get home and get to the facility, not even to your bed, you get to the facility, it's 4:30 in the morning. And then you got to get up the next day and work again. So it's just the grind of the season. And, we're heading into a bye week. After this game, we'll have a bye week for a week, and then we'll come back and play the last regular season game in the playoffs. So it's a chance for everybody to get a little sleep and heal up and get ready for the playoff push.
What if you flew over here for the bye week? You up for it?
I'm going home for the bye week. I'm going to go home to
Oh no, because I like the time difference, the internet, the wind. I'm joking. Are you going home the whole week? Yeah,
I'm gonna go home. We're gonna leave on Saturday, and I'll be home for about 7 days, and then get back here and get ready for the playoffs. It's gonna be a battle. I mean, it's gonna be a battle. So we're still not out of hosting a home playoff game. We have to beat BC this weekend and beat Montreal the next weekend and have a chance. But all you want's a chance, and we're in the playoffs, so that gives us a chance.
Well, best luck to you doing that, man, and obviously safe home and enjoy your time at home as well next week. We've got plenty more to talk about before this week's over. We got Thursday night, 9 p.m. We're going to get our picks going, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to see who we're going to pick between that Ravens-Titans game and Tottenham on Sunday and all the other games as well. But right now, Jeff, it's lunes, it's Monday. We got to wrap up. Did you give a pick the other day for this Packers-Raiders game?
Yes, I chose the Packers.
I can't remember who I picked.
You know what? You see about the picks. You were saying our picks were disappointing. Maybe
No. I think my picks this year have been shocking. Like I picked the Bills yesterday. I picked Washington on Thursday night. And it's like I picked the Jets and the Steelers yesterday. So I'll take that.
That is why we say when you pick wisely, and pick at 888 Sport, the official gambling partner of the National Football League in both Ireland and the US and the UK, excuse me. And I will also tell you this, Michael, that if you listen to the picks that I make, you're going to make some money. But if you listen to the picks Michael makes, I can't be held responsible for those.
I love how you're guaranteeing people are going to make money off your picks. 18 plus, please be gamble aware. And yeah, only bet what you can afford. Great to see some of the guys from what they did at Tottenham yesterday. Jeff, just for you to see some guys, some gals this winter/early year, linktr.ee/Reinbold, Glasgow, Manchester, Derry, Belfast, Dublin, Dundalk, Limerick, Cork, Galway. Wow. I mean, it's happening. Dundalk, folks, is a real test in the water for us. So if you'd like to go to Dundalk, check it out. It's on there now. It is cheaper than the rest of them. It's if you're in the north and you haven't got a clue where Dundalk is, it's 15 minutes from Newry. It's going to be a good crack. There's a team up there as well. So Jeff, certainly looking forward to that. And I will speak to you soon, my man.
All right, my brother. Enjoy your Monday night football. I can't even do it like that guy does.
Monday night. Have a good night, Jeff.
Monday Night Football.